Thank you for tuning in, guys, for another episode with us. The Success Table. We have another special guest for you guys, Mr. Gary Brown, Super Bowl champion with the Green Bay Packers. He was a fifth round draft pick to the Steelers, pick 148. He's joining us at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button to get all our up-to-date content. Just want to thank you guys for joining us today. Having a good show with Gary Brown. Gary was a fifth round draft pick in the 1994 draft. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He later in his career, 1996, won the Super Bowl championship with Brett Favre and company. Gary's doing some great things in his life. He's doing his charity, Gary Brown Dream 68, and we'll be touching on that topic. We'll be also touching on how hard was it to go to that Super Bowl in 96 with the Packers. What was the hardest moment or toughest part of it? Life after football. Going into some current topics with Gary. What will be the result of the Aaron Rodgers COVID-19 investigation? And also, what are the similarities between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre? But all this and more coming up at the top of the hour, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep on tuning in to our show, folks. It's a good slate of games yesterday. Cleveland took down the Bengals again. Cleveland played they played pretty good against the Bengals. Who else? The Packers lost. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, 13-7, I believe. 13-6, something like that. But that was a tough game. Not having Aaron Rodgers in there kind of deflated their offense. And Jordan Love was in the ball game. Their first round draft choice. I don't know about you guys, but Mr. Gary Brown is joining in, folks. Joining in. Gary, how are you doing, sir? Wait 1 second. Gary, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing okay. Oh, let me put my picture up.
Blessings to have you on Sports Talk
There we go.
1996, man. Hey, the Success Table playlist.
Let me hit my lighting right here, buddy. How are we doing today?
Hey, blessings, my guy. Blessings.
It's good to finally put a face to the name.
Yes, sir. Hey, likewise. I kind of knew your story because that was my birth year when you won the Super Bowl with Green Bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good stuff. How's my lighting? My lighting okay?
Hey, perfect, man. Perfect.
If I could do some doohickeys. I might have some doohickeys I can fix up over here.
Hey, pull the ring out. It's shiny.
You know what? I said, how am I doing an interview about 1996 football and not go get my ring? So I do have it out for you.
I hear you, man. I hear you, boss man. Hey,
So I had a good conversation with your mom the other day. That she's awesome.
Yes, sir. Hey.
Very blessed, bro. She we did a lot of bonding and talking, and she prayed for me, and I thought that was pretty awesome. I appreciate you and your mom.
Yes, sir. Hey, my mom's a great lady, and she has everything, all the great things to say about you, sir. And going on with your journey, and let's get it all started with your charity, man. How did you get it started? And the Gary Brown Dream 68, man. How did it start for you?
So that you said it was a short interview. It's a long story, but I'll speed it up. I will speed it up. So after my football career, I came home to make a living, see what I'm gonna do next. Everything I did prior to that was football, my hands and feet. And I was at one of my jobs doing maintenance work, and I hurt my back. And when I hurt my back, the football player in me was like, put some dirt on it. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep moving. And before you know it, well, wasn't before a couple of months after rehab, I didn't get any better or any worse. And then one day I just started declining. And before you knew it, I was paralyzed from waist down, and told me I was never going to walk again. And I was like, whoa, that's some heavy stuff to deal with, and which naturally took me into a funky place. And I was, doing a lot of questioning. Why me? Why, what did I do to deserve this type thing? And I saw a guy on the internet named Nick Wojcik. I'm pretty sure I'm screwing his last name up, but he's a quadriplegic, no arms, no legs, has a little foot sticking out of his hip. And this man was on stage on top of a table telling people how to live life and how God is good and how, no matter what your situation is, you can make the best of it and live a fulfilling, fruitful life. And I heard what he was saying out of his mouth, but the message that he brought to me was bigger on what he was doing. Because it's usually a doctor or a nurse or a therapist saying, oh, you're going to be fine. There's so many resources. Things are going to be okay. Don't worry. And I did nothing but worry. I did nothing but, stress. And when I seen this quadriplegic telling able-bodied people how to get the most out of life and what they're doing wrong, it resonated with me. And one of his biggest lessons was you want to get over your own problems, help somebody else with theirs. So soon after, I went and volunteered with Big Brother, Big Sister, and I was able to get a mentee. And the day I got that mentee, it changed my life. It was like, this is what I was supposed to be doing my whole entire time while I was playing football. Whenever I said, I would love to do that, but I don't have time, I should have made time. And so giving back kind of saved me. But more importantly, the more I gave back, the better I felt. It gave me a reason to get up out of bed. It gave me a reason to go to bed at night. It gave me a reason to, start being diligent about how I look and about what I do and what I say. And one thing led to another. And then I started my own nonprofit because, no matter what you're doing, there's always some people who do things for the wrong reasons. So, I ran into one or two of those people and they were taking advantage of the system. And I was like, the only way that I can ensure that every penny, every dollar I make goes back to the cause that I brought it in for, or the integrity of my business, is to have one myself. So I started my own nonprofit and I was doing local stuff. At one point I was doing chicken wing eating contests and charging people to eat against me and taking the money and donating it to, a local charity. And things grew. It took me across the country doing silly things like that. But the more you dig into the homelessness, the people who go hungry every day, the bigger the problem you see it is. You're in North Carolina, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm in Long Island, and Long Island's a suburb of the city. So in the city, when you see homelessness, you see it on the street. When you're in the suburbs, you don't see homelessness on the streets. They're in behind factories or behind buildings and on railroad tracks. And the more I started to uncover, the more I saw that there was a need for what I was doing. And that was enough said. That gave me the passion and the drive to keep doing what I'm doing. I actually just helped out a kid out in North Carolina. Do you know the name Sam Jordan by any chance? He was a kid that's on the spectrum. I believe he had Down syndrome, and he last year at the end of the football season, both teams agreed to let him score a touchdown, and the only thing he wanted to do was go to college. And me and my partner Lisa, who run a real estate company, we stepped in and helped out, and we helped get him into college, and that was like one of our bigger things that we did this year. So we focus on doing things of that nature, things that are missed by some of the bigger nonprofit organizations. They fall right into our wheelhouse.
Yes, sir. So, blessings to you, my friend. Hey, you're doing some great things, and I look forward to possibly doing one with you, man. Hey, eating.
You're breaking up. You broke up right there a little bit, and you're back breaking up.
Wait 1 second.
There we go. I got you back.
Perfect.
So I heard you say you look for doing some stuff with me, possibly, and then that's all I heard.
Hey, potentially doing an eating contest.
Well, I do it for charity. I don't eat fast or a lot, but I can talk a lot of trash and I can fake it. And if you let me beat you, it's usually little skinny guys like you that win the competitions. It's never the big guy who you think is gonna win.
I can eat a lot, so. Well, Gary, let's get it started with what was the toughest part and moment of the '96 Super Bowl run with the Packers?
That's a two-part question because the toughest part for me personally and the toughest part for us as a team are two different answers.
Hey.
The toughest part for me personally was the inconsistency that we had at left tackle. We had Ken Ruckers, who was going to be, who's an all-time Packer, who's been there, starting left tackle for like 10, 12 years prior to me getting there and was a staple of that offensive line. That was the first season he didn't play. And shortly before the season started, I was labeled a starter. So that was like, whoa, okay, I got some big shoes to fill, but do what you do, Gary. And stepping in and getting injured and having the fear of losing my position made me play injured. So that kind of was the toughest part because you know what the smart thing is, you know what you want to do, and you know what you need to do. But sometimes all three of those answers are different. So then what do you do? I elected to keep playing and playing with pain and playing with things that I shouldn't have been playing with, which opened the door for other people to step in. Probably by week 7, 8, or 9, I was dressing, but I wasn't starting anymore because of my injury. And they were dressing me just in case we need you. And then John Michaels and other players got an opportunity to showcase their talents. Bruce Wilkinson stepped in, a veteran. So personally, that was my biggest struggle. It's hard. It's hard to celebrate playing a good game and losing the game, just like it's hard to celebrate a win when you know you played a bad game. So it's a balance. But for the team, I think the hardest thing was to believe that we can do it. And the mind is a very tricky thing because you go into every season like, if you never did it before, you go into the season saying, "Oh, we're going to give it our best. We're going to do the best we can." But when you realize the transition from "I think we can" to "I know we can," it's a very big step. And somewhere along that season, the whole mind shift of the team happened. So the toughest thing was the struggle before that switch. You know, any team, they call it any given Sunday because any team can beat any team on any given Sunday. And, with you knowing that and going into every game like that, you got to be as well prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally to play. So when you think you can, a lot of barriers get in the way. When you know you can, those games that you might have you didn't play as well, you still come out victorious. Or you didn't put your best foot forward, or the other team had to drop on you, and you find a way to dig through and come back. That's the difference between I thinking and I know I can. And so that transition was the hardest part from the I think we can to once we got that switch to I know we can, and went from the biggest problem to the biggest blessing.
Definitely, man. So going in the 5th round, how rewarding was it going out into that stage and touching that Lombardi trophy for you personally?
It was surreal. It's pretty much like the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, when we won, it was like, wow, we just won the Super Bowl. We just won the Super Bowl. But you kept saying that for hours until the next morning, until, you're on the plane and then you're getting off and you see the parade of people. And it's like, we just won it. Like, now it's really sinking in. So it's pretty much the same thing on draft day. On draft day, I was in Atlanta. I went to Georgia Tech, so I was in Atlanta, and I got drafted the 5th round, so I got drafted the next day on a Sunday. And we're talking about 1994. So, the ticker was on the bottom of the screen. That was as close to live TV as it was. So if it happened live, the TV would show it maybe 20 minutes later, half an hour later. So I got the phone call from my agent that some teams are interested in me. And then one by one, the team started beeping in and clicking over. And Pittsburgh was on the line, and they're like, "Gary, it's between you and another player." And they told me who it was, and I don't know. For the life of me, I can't remember. And they ended up saying, "Well, Gary, welcome to the Steelers." And they passed me around the room, and I was so excited internally, but I didn't scream for joy because I didn't see it on the television screen yet. I didn't see it. It didn't manifest with me. So after I hung up with the coaches and the agents, I sat there for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, waiting to see my name come across, Gary Brown, Pittsburgh Steelers. And the minute I saw that, I thought, "Mama, you got to turn on the TV." And now I had to wait another half an hour for it to come back around so they could see it and we could all, rejoice together. So it was a pretty special moment because it meant that it showed me that hard work pays off. I came from Nassau Community College before I went to Georgia Tech, before I was in a position to be drafted. And I left Nassau with a bunch of, great, exceptional athletes that didn't have the grades or the personality, or maybe got into some mischief when they were young, had a juvenile record, or whatever it may be that brought them to Nassau, or the grades. And I know that some of those players could play in the NFL, and they had the willpower and the skill to do it. But it's more than just skill. There's so many different assets and avenues to the game that having a talent is just a small part of it. And that's why I try and teach these kids today that, Being good is just being good. Are you mentally prepared to be good? Are you physically prepared to be good? Are you can you handle the challenges of being good and getting taught a lesson? Not everybody can do that. Some kids that grow up winning their whole life don't know how to lose, don't know how to, give it their all and say, I came up short. I got to go back to the drawing board, or I got to work harder. It affects them a different way. So there's many different avenues and things of that nature. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I hear you, man. Blessings. So, life after football for you, the trials and tribulations that come along with that process, how have you applied those things to your personal life?
Great question. And it's I'm hoping I give you a great answer. The trials and tribulations, it's like being a childhood star actor and then your career is over. But if you're an actor, no matter what your ability is, you can always act. Football, I would believe that less than 5% of actual NFL football players walk away from the game. 95%, the game walks away from them. Rosters change and turn over so much, but we only look at, as fans, we only look at the superstars. If the quarterback's there, that running back's there, that tight end's there, and that defensive lineman's there, you don't see how many other players are being interchanged in and out and have 1, 2, 3-year careers. So after football for me, I was one of those guys who played, 9 years professionally, but only 4.5 in the NFL, a couple overseas in Europe, and then I finished my career in Canada. And that was because I love the game. I love to compete. I love everything about it. And when the game walks away from you, it's like, what do you do now? That was my first time of dealing with being in a dark place because I was depressed and I didn't even know I was. It's one thing about being depressed and knowing it. It's another thing about being depressed and not having an idea that you're depressed. I just was, in a funky mood, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to go anywhere, didn't want people to see me. And it was because, that's the guy that used to play football, and that didn't resonate with me yet. That didn't click in my brain. So it was one of those things that was hard for me to accept. But when I went out or hung out with my friends or did everything, I had to keep up the persona of, I'm Super Bowl champion Gary Brown. Everything's on me, everybody. Knowing that I blew through my savings already, knowing that I had a mortgage to pay, knowing that I had no money to spare, but I had to keep looking like the all-star football player. So my transition was a little rough on me mentally and emotionally. And that led me, it wasn't until I went through my setbacks. Well, that led me to getting all kinds of jobs. I was working, at one point, I was probably working 3-4 different jobs at the same time. I would come home and take a power nap for an hour or two and get up and go to work. But I was okay with that because it kept me busy. And then I hurt my back, which one depression got me. Are you there?
Yes, okay, sir.
All right. I had another call. I just want to make sure I didn't. So one depression got me ready for the next one. So when I hurt myself was when I went through that. And, those years between leaving football and having a back injury were really growing pains getting me ready for after my injury. And after my injury, when I realized my true calling was to help out and to use football as a platform and to reach people and to help people, it changed everything for me. Like to the point that now I have my own nonprofit organization. I have a real estate company. I also have a book coming out. We just sent it out for publishing last week. And that book, to answer your question, that book talks about all the trials and tribulations. It's not a football book. There are some football stories, but it's a book about overcoming adversity. It's a book about getting knocked down and getting back up. It's a book about me making dumb decisions where my career could have been over before it started and what navigated me through that. So it's a process that everybody has to deal with on their own, because what works for me doesn't necessarily have to work for you. So my book just tells people how I work through things and what got me through it and what helped me become who I am, the product that I am is sitting in front of you. So I think it's a book that can help a lot of people no matter what you're going through. I deal with amputee guys from the military. I deal with underprivileged youth. I deal with homeless people. I deal with all of these people that have challenges that little do they know mentally they're being held back and not a physical thing.
Definitely. So my next two questions are current NFL topics for you. It's about your Green Bay Packers. with the Aaron Rodgers COVID investigation, how do you think that will turn out for Aaron Rodgers?
I think it's a gift and a curse because if I'm sure that he's probably not the only one that says, however he manipulated the situation, whether he outright lied or whether he manipulated it to make it sound like something, that's something that he has to deal with his people. But I think it opened the door for anybody else to be brought to light and put some standard policies in place so that the safety of everybody. A lot of people question his integrity or question his moves from a fan standpoint. If you're not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, you're ready to throw him under the bus. And if you're a fan of Aaron Rodgers, you're going to say he did nothing wrong. So I think what happened was it's something that it put a light on something that was going on that everybody knew about. So moving forward, it's going to make the NFL in a better position to stay open and for less people to get a chance of having a virus or to manipulate the situation. So that's the kind of mind that I think with, like, is it unfortunate that he didn't play the other day? Yes. He's going to play again. If not next week, the week after. But it's going to level the playing field for everybody to be either vaccinated or not vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, then you're going to have to do these steps to prove that you're healthy enough and safe enough to be around others. And I think that's a good thing, because that's the only way we're going to get out of the situation that we're in. Total upfront honesty and people doing what they have to do.
Definitely. I think it opened the door for Jordan Love to showcase his talent against Kansas City.
I would like for him to get another weekend. I would like for him to play again next week, because yesterday was full of jitters and unexpectedness, and he wasn't mentally ready. Give him a week of full practice. Give him a week of practicing and a game plan for him. Do all of these things and let him go out there and play. He's going to be your future anyway.
Definitely. So my next question is Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. What are some of the similarities between both quarterbacks for you personally? You played with Brett and you've seen the outside looking in on Aaron Rodgers.
They're edgy.
They're edgy
and they want to win. And you take, edgy, is that the right word? Passionate. So if you take that passion and the will and the drive and the sacrifice it takes to get there and to do that, I'll play with somebody less talented, but with more in the heart and on their sleeve than, hard work overcomes talent all the time. For me, I'll take hard work. One of my most difficult players I ever played against was John Randall from Minnesota. And the reason was because whether he was up by 100 or down by 100, he's giving you the business. He's giving it your all, the first play or the last play. Somebody like that, I can play with. I don't want to play with the guy that, we're down by 30 points, we're not going to win, and they start taking it off. That's not a teammate. Brett Favre, no matter what situation you put him in, no matter what team you give him, no matter how less receivers or less of offensive line you give him, he's going to be like, I can do it. Let's make it happen. We can do it as a unit. Brett has never yelled at me and said, damn it, Gary, get your block. I've missed the block, and we all have. It's a part of the game, or I got beat and he got hit. And I come over and I'll never let my quarterback get up by himself. If I'm next to my quarterback, I'm helping him up. And I help up my quarterback and he looks at me and says, Gary, don't worry. He doesn't hit hard anyway. That's the kind of guy that Brett Favre was, Aaron Rodgers, a stickler for you doing your job, you being accountable. And if you're not accountable, he's going to call you out. Only people that will have a problem with that are people who aren't doing their job. So I'm okay with that. I think there are two of the best that the NFL's ever seen for their own reasons. I talk highly about Aaron Rodgers often because his drive and will to win is a lot higher than the average person by any means necessary almost. And somebody says it's snobbyish or the way he talks to people. And I'm like, that's passion. You can't mistake the two. If you're not doing their job and you're holding him back from doing his, he's going to call you out on it. But his IQ is as high as any quarterback in the game. His athletic ability is as high as any quarterback in the game. He's not a runner, but you can't leave him alone. He can outthrow just about anybody, and he makes the decisions. I'll take either one of my foxhole.
I hear you.
Preferably Brett, but just because I'm biased a little bit.
Hey, he's a gunslinger, man. Hey,
a gunslinger.
There's so many stories about the brick wall incident with him throwing the football against the wall. Hey, did you hear those in the locker room?
Absolutely. And more importantly, I witnessed it. We've had receivers come in for tryouts and things of that nature that didn't leave with healthy fingers. Because if you don't know not just the fundamentals of catching, but if you catch a Brett Favre ball thrown, the wrong way, you could very easily break your fingers. Like, I don't understand the game today and the gloves that they have, because these guys are catching these balls with high velocity like this, with one hand. I would love to see somebody do that with bare hands. I can't. It's physically impossible. The velocity they throwing just as hard. The ball is spinning with just as much torque. So these are really good gloves. Hey. I wish I played these days and over. I like that I played the back in the days, because it gave me grit, it gave me confidence, it gave me the know-how. But it would have been entertaining to play these days, with all the rules and regulations about hitting a quarterback, about going low, about crackbacks, about hands to the face. Oh, man, that was one of the defensive linemen's most favorite moves. Hit you right in the face mask, mess your helmet up so you can't see. They don't have to worry about that these days.
Hey, definitely. Well, Gary, it's been a blessing to have you on Sports Talk, and let's get that eating competition squared away, man. Let's get it started. Let's get it set up.
Absolutely, I would love that. We come out there, we'll do it for charity. Actually, I'm going to be in North Carolina because I have some stuff going on with NASCAR. So I have a car running this week out here on Long Island, but 2022 we'll be hitting the Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and someplace else, that circuit. So I hope this is our first but not our last. I would love to come back and promote my book on your show.
Let's do it.
Anything else?
Let's do it.
Anything I got to do to link up with you and the show, I would love a copy of it to put on my website, the whole 9 yards.
Hey, let's do it. Hey, you're coming to Charlotte, aren't you? That's where I'm located.
Yeah, Charlotte Racetrack.
Let's go. I'll meet you there, man.
That sounds like a plan. I'll put you on the to-do list and make sure you know about all the information.
Hey, blessings, my guy. Blessings. Hey,
thank you so much, Zach, for the opportunity. Thank you for the platform, brother.
Hey, blessings.
Much love. Blessings to you and your mother. Have a great day.
You too, man.